gonna go ahead and flip comments on and everything. Yeah, it'll be exciting to see everyone. Whoops. I think we can use the live video. Go to all messages here. Yeah, and so I missed. I'm hoping to be live for about an hour today. We'll see, 30 minutes to an hour or so. And I missed one of the big stories yesterday. I didn't post a shorts for everyone, and so I was going to talk about it a little bit tonight. But we saw a second ICE shooting in Minneapolis, and so there's outrage. We have Kristi Noem, I believe, is on site in Minneapolis right now. So for some reason, the Department of Homeland Security has to accompany a federal agency to do federal agency things. So it's absolutely, it is not working. It is not working. That's sort of the main punchline is when we're looking at Trump's policies, we're looking at what Rubio's saying internationally, and it's absolutely absurd. We have Greenland. We have people getting run over in the street. All kinds of crazy stuff. Crazy town stuff, everyone. So, yeah, I don't know how how everyone in the audience views. ICE is the only law enforcement agency. ICE is the only law enforcement agency in the United States which is not working today. ICE is the only law enforcement agency in the United States which is not working, which is wild. You can look at your local state FBI office. You could look at a sheriff's office. You could look at the DEA. You could look at the ATF. You could look at the EPA guys that go around and read gas gauges. And ICE is the only agency that Donald Trump seriously touched and disrupted. And it is the only federal agency which is not working. And someone pointed out, hey, what's going on, G-Man? Sup. Not much. I decided to get all formalized for you guys today. I got my, my wise guy suit and all this stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is a really nice jacket. I got this at a thrift store for very cheap, like an actual thrift store. Not like one of those fashion thrift stores. And it's a Hugo Boss jacket. So it's like an Italian designer or something. I don't know who Belanda is, but very cool. Yeah, I just shaved the beard too. If you go back and see a live from like 2 days ago, it was like scraggly and down to here. I clean up. I know how to clean up a little bit, guys. It's not too bad. I don't really take those types of personal questions. If you guys have questions about relationships or want to talk about relationships, happy to talk more about that. Hey, Xavier. I'm a political commentator, so I do like discussing, debating philosophy, religion, politics, any of those kind of topics. Today, because I'm based in the US and there's not a ton of US people here. Oh, Hugo Boss was German. I'm sorry. Yeah, because if everyone here isn't in the US or Canada or something, I'm happy to take talk about different sort of questions. You can talk about God, spirituality, Christianity, your beliefs, my beliefs, just what beliefs are, all that kind of stuff. But in the US, we have this runaway agency. It's sort of interesting. And so a very classic authoritarian or fascist pattern, which I believe happened in Indonesia, it's happened in Iran, and it's happened in the United States to some extent, is where we see like autocrats. We see leaders who just want everything to be ruled from the executive. That's basically what an autocrat is their sort of end goal is to end, without pearl clutching and fear mongering, autocrats eventually don't want an independent judiciary. They don't want your judge working for the people. They don't want there to be transparency or measurement of success or reciprocity. And basically if there's any empathy in like court systems or law enforcement or city planning, if there's any empathy at all, they basically want that to be all about political requests. Yeah, and the Trump dynasty, Trump trying to make America an empire, Trump being an imperialist, Trump being a colonialist, Trump being a media personality who happened to get into the White House. As far back as 2015, Donald Trump was out front, and Donald Trump was telling the American people, he'd say, Mexico, our closest ally, our closest neighbor, not our closest ally, but Mexico, our closest neighbor, we share thousands of miles of border with them, is sending us their criminals, their illegal criminals. And this was based on absolutely nothing back then, and it's still based on nothing. It's a completely baseless statistic. It's a baseless, it's something that has no context or circumstance. Yeah, and I think Hassan is getting it. I think Hassan's got the right idea, is that I think it's become a compassionate fact that Donald Trump is behaving as a fascist. He's become someone who has a single narrative, a sort of single strategy, a single plan, and when you just say, look, I want my voice to be heard, I think it's important that my values are represented when we're talking about something like immigration and immigration enforcement, when I'm wondering how this impacts my community, for better or for worse. I've worked with people that probably didn't have a green card, and I enjoyed it. That's just how that's how I learned the United States is that if people want to work hard, right, you love working with the people that work hard. You kind of laugh at and get a little frustrated with your coworkers that don't want to work hard. And they might be brown, they might be white, they might be Mexican, they might be American, they might be college students, they might be old people. And so you always have old and young college students and all this other stuff that you work with, that some people are lazy, some people aren't lazy. Am I LDS? No, I can see how you would think that. It looks like I'm in my church clothes a little bit. I've got the gold and blue. I used to actually have a Donald Trump tie. Donald Trump was maybe not like not a highly desirable sort of person when he was in the media, but he did have a tie company, and sometimes you could find the ties on sale at like Nordstrom Rack or Ross, like our discount retail stores. And so I used to have a Donald Trump tie actually, but no, I'm secular. Atheist if you want. I would most closely subscribe religiously, not to LDS, but to Eastern religions, either Taoism or probably Buddhism, the metaphysics, the philosophy, lots of stuff. I like working with people who don't have a green card, so the laws shouldn't be enforced. Hey, father, son, you're finishing my sentence in a way that I wouldn't have thought about finishing it. That's pretty good. What do you guys think? I don't think so. I think having someone that I know, when I'm working with them, we both have to show up on time. We both have to give the guest or the customer great service. We both have aspirations to maybe do more. And I know they're also paying rent. They're paying taxes. They got taxes and Social Security coming out of their check. I think there's strong precedent for an individual person to have a political belief, to have a strongly held political belief that the people right next to you are people just like you. Yeah, we can go further into that. If you're open to a conversation, father, son, you both need legal authorization to work also, dimwit. Well, you're being rude. And so to work, you want this to be about to work. I think it is first about who the United States is, our identity as a country. Father, son, and I can walk you through this if you want to hear it. I think it's first about having a national identity as a country and understanding what our priorities are. That is both about the laws as well as things like national security, international competition. I can talk to you a lot about that if you actually want to. And then I also think it's about treating people like a human. You're allowed to want to treat people like a human and not be accused of being a, like far left, woke, green hair, armpit hair, all the tropes, all the mean things you can say about someone. babbling nonsense that has nothing to do with the point. I would suggest you calm down a little bit. If you don't understand what to me a national identity is, or you don't understand what a national interest is. If any of you guys in chat know, maybe you know Hans Morgenthau. Maybe you know that presidents have probably read Hans Morgenthau. If you know that, maybe you guys can help me out in chat a little bit. Should we set up a Q&A, guys? Let me know what you guys think. I think personally, my opinion is I don't have to have an opinion about immigration laws because they've never impacted me. I'll tell you this actually. So I'm in Arizona, and I used to work where a lot of day laborers got picked up, father, son. You probably know what day laborers are. They're people that do informal jobs. Typically, they get hired for about a day at a time, maybe a job at a time with some set cash rate. So day laborers are notoriously categorized as illegal immigrants. And Sheriff Joe Arpaio, so these are facts. These are brute facts that you accused me of not being able to deal with facts. This is a fact. Sheriff Joe Arpaio conducted a large operation in about 2009 called the Chandler Roundup to arrest illegal immigrant day laborers in Chandler, Arizona. So this is pretty specific, pretty precise, I think. It's about immigration. It's about what we're talking about. And it supports my view. It turned out Sheriff Joe, what he did was illegal, and courts agreed. It wasn't a federal issue. It wasn't, if I recall correctly, it wasn't this big issue because it was just illegal what he did. You can't just go around and some guy's waiting at a bus stop to get picked up to go to work, and you put him in handcuffs. You arrest him. And so this is analogous because it is penalizing an entire community. It's stereotyping. And it's conducting a reckless law enforcement mission, a series of operations, a mission, and it's illegal. And it turned out that when Sheriff Joe arrested all of these people, like 70% of them had work authorization. So what I'm hearing from you, father, son, is you think Tom Homan and ICE can actually arrest 7 American citizens to get 3 immigrants out of our country. Wow. What a revelatory opinion. You have the spotlight. So Thailand doesn't allow illegal immigrants to work there either. No country does. Yeah, and so if you want to go through and just gaslight the conversation, I can make this easy. How about this? If you want to subscribe, you can come back, but I'm going to give you a day timeout because I don't think this is going anywhere productive. We'll see you later. So I have another sales job. I haven't done sales in like 5-6 years. It is not glamorous. It's one of those sales jobs where I can make very, very little money. Like you guys might be surprised if I tell you like, oh, I'm in tech sales. I sell tech. You guys might think, this guy's going to he can plan on being a millionaire in 4 years. That's usually how tech sales is you can think about it at least. But the job that I got, I had my first, second call today, and I should be, and yeah, it's cool. I'm going to be selling AI technologies, in a very small specific niche. It's not like I work for Sam Altman's company. I don't work for Grok. I don't work for OpenAI. So it's a small company. We all have to work hard. There might not be any money in it. Maybe there will be money in it. And yeah, it's going to be better than not having an income, which I have no income right now. So, yeah, and I haven't really worked in like 4 or 5 years. I did, by the way, in case people think I'm like a freeloader, I don't think you should stigmatize it. But yeah, no, I haven't been living off government assistance or anything. It just happened to be the way my life went that I can live broke. And, but I also believe in social safety nets. By the way, Venezuela's interim president tweeted on X. She said, we're gonna build the welfare state that we deserve. So good on them. Good on them. I believe you should support the working class, blue collar workers. I believe that people that spend their life seeking and holding gainful employment shouldn't have to worry about their kids going out on the streets or their kids not being able to go to college, their kids having to compete with a gazillion people just to get a job. Maybe getting into criminals, getting into criminal lifestyles, the glamour, the glitz, the drugs, all of this stuff, guys. I'm frozen in place here. Come on. I'm trying with you guys. So the Venezuelan president is on X. And yeah, there's this really weird grown-up idea that's not like existential, but it's like this higher truth. This is something we lost with MAGA and the Trump administration. And chat, I'll come say hi to everyone in just a second. Too. So please like and subscribe if you are liking the live stream or you want to join another one. And with the Trump administration, Donald Trump since 2015 has told you what to think. He said there's 1.6 billion violent Muslims. This was Donald Trump's own words. I'm not using them against him because he wanted to drum up support from a base that had preconceived notions of what Islam is. No, I'm not Muslim. I'm an atheist. That doesn't mean I have any inkling or any sort of drive to spread hate about Islam. And so since 2015, this has been who Donald Trump is. It has been telling us that 1.6 billion Muslims are conspiring against the United States, and his buddy, Secretary of State Mark Rubio, has been right there with him. And so this is just wild because you look at one of the major political actors, one of the major political parties, you look at someone who aligns with the major media networks like Fox News, and they're spreading this really hateful message a decade ago. And now they're going out and they're starting to do some of it. Most people would say too much of it. And this is really crazy because I think you're allowed to have irrational, spiritual, justified sort of these categories of beliefs that we have about society and politics. I can say that, yeah, I understand that there is an external jihad in Muslim theology, but I don't normally form political beliefs about theology. I've never met someone who's been like, well, smelly beard. Hey, thanks, Patrick. Yeah, someone said I have a really nice full beard, so I'm glad you're balancing us out a little bit. Good on you. Good on you. Yeah, and so I've never heard someone say, well, because I know who Thomas Aquinas is, or because I've read like the Coptic Gospels or the Dead Sea Scrolls, I'm going to form a political belief about this. As an atheist or as a secular dude, and as a progressive Democrat, I'm usually like, well, are people okay? Like, are people okay? Are we spending too much money on the wrong things in our military? Like, is this the really inefficient military-industrial complex that spreads hate in the world, that spreads violence in the world? Are the people that check me out, that bag my groceries for me, when I want to get groceries, I want you to bag them. Let me take something. But are those people, are all of them okay? That's kind of where I get my politics from. So Donald Trump saying there's, in 2015, 1.6 billion, now 1.7 billion hateful Muslims who hate the United States. No, Donald Trump, you are just a little delusional. You want to troll us. You want to turn your voters, you want to turn the American people into your product, right? That's the real Trump tie. That's the real Trump watch. That's the real, luxury weekend stay at Mar-a-Lago or whatever it is, Mar-a-Lago. The real luxury stay that Donald Trump sells isn't a high-rise loft. The real product Donald Trump sells is your opinion, your voice as the American people. And I, for one, am not a product of hate. I'm not a product for hate. And I can guarantee you guys that. Hey, Dr. Mateen, good to see you again. And Cosmic Experience, hello. Hello. Corey Freeman, good to see you. Yeah, if you're 30 and retired, that's the best way to do it. Please shout out my brother, Deshaun. Hey, Deshaun. Yeah, hope you are doing well. I would absolutely hope that anyone that is in prison for murder is doing well, just like anyone else. I'm sure that the crime of murder, I do see it as a objectively wrong thing to do, to kill somebody. I don't think that's a subjective issue. And, I don't know why I said that, right? If Deshaun's here, I would say, what's up, Deshaun? Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. I think the U.S. needs a third party. Yeah, vote independent. Bernie Sanders, doesn't he run as an independent in Vermont? He's Muslim. Oh, JW, man, that's pretty bad. I'm going to go ahead and just remove that one from chat, JW. you know, and this is just a small warning, not a big deal, but hey, thanks, Marilyn. Good to see you. Yeah, I decided to suit up today. But yeah, you're obviously this is a space for free speech. I try not to ban people. I try not to time people out too often, unless you're like violating YouTube's TOS. But yeah, I don't like that xenophobia stuff that much. It doesn't lead to a productive conversation. We had someone in chat just a few minutes ago who started off basically saying, I hate immigrants and you don't know what you're talking about because I hate immigrants or for some reason. And that we tried to talk. I talked in a calm voice. I presented information, arguments, and that conversation was going downhill. So people aren't going to be in this chat personally gaslighting other members of the audience. And so sorry for people that are uncomfortable with that environment. I apologize. I'll try to keep an eye on it. We try and self-regulate in a kind way, in a compassionate or a thoughtful way, because I hope people are here a little bit for community and friendship, or something to do, right? If you just log into your phone, you can come hang out for a minute, or we can educate ourselves a little bit together. Not that big of a deal, but brother, they hate this country. I don't believe that. I don't believe that I know the Muslims that you're talking about. Yeah, I can't say that I know what you're talking about. When I was in tech, I actually had my co-founder for a company, because I'm a failed entrepreneur, if that's what I look like. It wasn't that big of a deal, in startups you can kind of hack your way in and see if you want to keep doing it. But one of my co-founders was originally from Egypt. He works at a really large company in the US now. Very successful. He's like a senior director of engineering or something, but he was our CTO. He was the technical co-founder. And yeah, he was from Egypt. He was Muslim. He has also had a degree from Stanford. And so you don't have to have a degree from Stanford. I've worked with another Egyptian Muslim dude who didn't have a degree from Stanford. He was just chilling in Cairo. I worked with another Muslim dude from Tunisia. I'm not going to go through and like count my black friend, count my, my ethnic friends, count all my white friends. But saying that people hate us is just repeating what Donald Trump says. Saying that is just saying what Donald Trump says. Yeah, and so this is one thing I would encourage people to believe, is that if you're lucky to meet people from different places, and you're lucky to meet people in places that aren't like a Twitch stream or a YouTube stream, you're going to find a lot of people with common interests like you. And maybe the main takeaway is that like it is like things like work, things like our hobbies, things like whatever, I don't know, doing comedy, things like going to movies. These kind of things are like addictive for humans. Maybe you're like really passionate about food, wine, or cigars, or fast cars, or you're really passionate about sustainability, climate tech. You're really passionate about whatever, who knows? You're really passionate about making sure people have access to good jobs or good banking in places that aren't as old as the United States, places that are not as old as the United States and don't have the privileges that we have for being an old country. And those things are really good to do. I'm not telling you, like, obviously, those are like really exciting things to go do in the world. And like anything else, without having moderation. But to me, it's this left field issue. It's like, weird. I can go to Discord, guys. I can go to Discord and talk to somebody about like, clean water initiatives or something, if I'm interested in that. And then I'm going to turn around and say, well, that person might be hateful, I don't know. Maybe that dude is a Venezuelan dude living in Santa Barbara. Maybe that dude is a Venezuelan guy, or a Cuban, or an Iranian, or an Iraqi, or an Afghani guy, or from wherever, I don't know, Kenya or something, living in Florida. I could just ramble here. I could sit here and ramble because I'm confused, but that's my point. Is I don't see why we would be hateful in the first place, and it's to me it's way superseding of some like unhinged idea of strategy that just isn't working, right? That's kind of a crazy point. ICE is the one law enforcement agency in the United States that isn't working. And so I'm going to not just hate, but justify hate because of the strategy that has led to the one failing law enforcement agency. You want to say it's this one America First guy. It's the one guy that cares about rural Americans as much as Donald Trump does. It's the one guy. The one guy. He's got the great healthcare plan now. He's got all these new things. Iranians is different. Yeah, it's a very chaotic. I don't know all that much about Iran, so if anyone does in chat, cool. But it's a very chaotic corner of the globe, and it's not just like a chaotic corner of the globe, but they have a really rich history. They have a rich history of being Islamic, of not being Islamic, all kinds of stuff. And so my very like softball underhand thing is I'm wishing well for the Iranian people. And the funny part is that even in times of deep protest, revolt, civil disobedience, you still hope for good governance. And so that's a very mature idea to think that, well, first and foremost, the main thing and only thing I care about is the well-being of the Iranian people regarding their revolution. Terry, I'll respond to that in just a second. But regarding Iran as well, you still hope that this oppressive, autocratic, authoritarian, theocratic regime that has a track record of abusing human rights in the worst ways possible, things that are like truly shouldn't exist in society at all. You still hope that there's good governance. Donald Trump just wants to bomb people. He thinks that's how you get a democracy, is you drop enough tons of explosive plastics on it, and you get a democracy. Doesn't work that way. All right, so Terry suggests that I would suggest this isn't just me, but not that anyone has to agree with what I say here, but you're protecting illegal border jumpers when you don't support ICE. Terry, ICE isn't working. ICE is conducting these large-scale operations which are illegal. They're dangerous. They're being conducted by poorly trained officers, and an American citizen is allowed to disagree with that. So I don't support ICE. I don't support ICE. I don't know what this other statement is, but I'll just tell you I don't support ICE because it's dangerous. It's illegal. There are these poorly trained officers. There's not enough levers in place for transparency and reporting. I don't know how they're planning these operations. I don't know how they're choosing where they go. And I don't believe any semblance of due process is being followed. So as a person, to me, that means there's a tyrannical government agency that's running around putting American lives at risk, that is taking American lives. And in doing so, it's removing everyone in Minneapolis's rights, everyone in Portland's rights. It's removing everyone's rights in the areas that they're operating in, because you have a right to not have this tyrannical agency operating and threatening your freedom, threatening your freedoms. That's how we work. Thank you. So Terry, that's what I think about that. Hey, Joshua, good to see you. How many illegals you took into your house? In Arizona, yeah, there's definitely undocumented workers in Arizona. We have farm industries. You can also look heavily. There's people, they might be your neighbors who naturalized. There might be people who, like, your engineering partner in the aerospace industry, right? Or chip factory, right? In Arizona, you have people whose parents or their parents immigrated illegally, who are now aerospace engineers, or they work in the chips industry. And so my house in Arizona, what I'm responsible for thinking about, has a lot of illegals. Why don't you open a small restaurant, Josh? My recommendation: open a small restaurant and try to make a really good back of house job for someone to do prep, right? Someone to do prep that you want to do line. someone that you want to give the opportunity to maybe get pay raises over the next couple years, who are you going to hire that has experience doing that? Who wants to do that job? Who knows what that job is like and wants a good employer? They're not all documented workers. They're not all legal visa green card holders. And so I don't have, like what someone else said, I don't support ICE. I can oppose illegal immigration, and I can support the law being followed with due process, and I cannot oppose the person. I cannot hate someone for that reason. I can have a belief about other stuff. I'm allowed. If I'm not allowed, this is news to me. Since when have I not been allowed, guys? Hey, Aaron. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Sprigwin. Appreciate it. This is I was telling someone this is my my Goodwill find, a Hugo Boss jacket. So someone corrected me. I thought Hugo Boss was an Italian brand, but apparently it's a German designer. So, but yeah, this is a real Hugo Boss. It's really nice fabric and stuff. It's one of those ones that after I wear it, I hang it up right away. And so, yeah. But I like getting dressed up. If I'm talking in front of you guys, sort of. You know, this is very obviously a little casual, but you know, whatever. People don't know civics, geography, nationality, philosophy, religion, theology, political science, history, biology, physics, science. But yeah, it's absolutely huge problem. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people could share what they think the national interest is. To me, it sounds more like screeching. If if you tell me that I just want all the illegal aliens out of my country, to me that sounds more like a screech than it does like a national priority. I don't understand why that's more important than the energy security for you know, like our children in 40 years or 50 years. I don't have a say in that. That's really weird. Kamala's a criminal. All yes, all out. I don't know what you're opposed to. You're I was gonna accuse you of shadow boxing. I think you're shadow boxing someone right now because it looks like you got ops. Kamala's a criminal. It does look like you got ops, to be completely honest. You know what? One of the hard things law enforcement agencies are supposed to do is they're supposed to keep track of like Leo development. They're supposed to keep track of this across different field offices and area offices. And they're supposed to be able to track this sort of general cultural trends along with their sort of priorities and what you always do in times of peace, in times of war, if you're allowed to say that, as well as what you're going to be doing into the future. And yeah, and so this is both like an everyday thing as well as things that like Tom Homan, you know, if he wasn't an immigration czar, what he would be doing is focusing on great administration. And instead, you are the op. Yeah, see, that's all I was saying. So yeah, I don't know why. So like to me, that's like saying like I'd be willing to commit violence against you if you're my opposition or something. Do you mean op like we're buddy buddies, we're playing around a little bit? Do you mean op like in the term that op is typically used online, like send me the location? Like, is that what you're saying to me? No, you're not my friend. All right, well, let me simplify it. If we're not going to talk, I'll just hide you. You're gone from the channel. That was easy. That shouldn't be up. That should have gotten deleted too. So sorry, Kamala. Sorry to you. Thank you for trying. Thank you for playing. Hope I was entertaining or informative at all, at least a little bit. Do away with the unconstitutional ICE organizations and their human right violations. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think Donald Trump, realistically, you know, if I shared my conservative leanings, I believe that there will be and would be a Republican administration that aggressively pursues immigration enforcement. I don't think it entails hiring junior officers to go on high-speed chases through neighborhoods. It should never be the case that your Department of Homeland Security chief, like Kristi Noem, has to go spend time in some like truly meaningless, pointless, small, worthless city in the United States because all of your immigration function messed up so bad that she has to be in Minneapolis. And this is actually really simple. This is a really simple point, is that the American law likes to be enforced. The law likes to be enforced. It's always true. And this becomes tangible and practical only when you get a case in front of a judge. It does not really matter what is happening out in the world without those administration levers. And so you do have a justified, legitimate political discussion to happen that some people say, I think we should spend more enforcing immigration. People are allowed to say that and vote that way. However, when that same law and the same judges that are existing to enforce the law, to ensure justice is seen through and that conversation is had, when those same laws extend so far that now it is the case that when cases get in front of judges, they say, well, because I love the law, because I love justice, we can't go forward with this. We just can't do it anymore. You know, you've gone too far. And it's just very odd because I can't help but think that there's a couple minutes of every ICE officer's day. There's a couple minutes of every single ICE operation, which just should never be in a court docket. It should never be seen in courts. So that means your rights as a community and specific individuals' rights in particular cases are being violated every single day. And that's the difference. That's the difference between having like pokes and jabs and saying, "Oh, you're a xenophobe." Marco Rubio suggested an American Muslim coalition as a response to Trump in the 2015 presidential debates. Soak that in for a second. Don't chew on it. Soak it in. Marco Rubio said that, well, together we as Americans and Muslims can defeat Muslims. This is how ignorant this guy is. And so the irony with this, the irony with Marco Rubio and Donald Trump's little back and forth thing is I could, in 2016, poke jabs and say, well, you're xenophobic. You're xenophobic, and I'm scared and nervous as a progressive Democrat that you're going to encourage people in my state of Arizona to vote for people that are hateful, to vote for people that want immature, poorly thought out, non-deliberative sort of forms of laws in our country. You're not going to be able to support the thing that you actually load onto the ship. The ship's going to go down. And we're allowed to do that. You're allowed to make bad policy so people learn, so people know more, and they vote better in the future. I would get another lawyer, sorry. And instead what we get is a completely failing agency that's now taking away time and attention from other critical national priorities. When people suffer in the United States, and this is kind of like drug addiction. This is kind of like drug and alcohol addiction. And I hope you guys don't think this is funny. I hope you guys don't laugh at this, but there's always people who get clean from drugs or alcohol, and then 3 months later, they'll tell you, I got a job, I got an apartment, and I'm doing well. I got a job and I got an apartment. And then 1 month later, they're back doing something they shouldn't be doing. They're either in jail, they're arrested, they're dead, they are homeless again. And sometimes you realize that people are so good at pursuing their goals and interests that they will, it's possible, right? You guys don't take too much away from this, be compassionate, but some people will get clean to go back to getting drugs, or some people just fall off the bus at some point in time. Who knows? It can be anything. And this is kind of like what happens when you have this autocratic mindset. You're not doing good government. You're not passing good laws. You're not passing good budgets. You're not creating a conversation across the democracy. And so it's kind of like falling off the bus of being a drug addict or something again. Because as soon as things start going bad, do you know what old Stalin did? He sent people back to the gulags. For Donald Trump, when things go wrong, what does he do? He drums up language about legal civil disobedience being construed as terrorism, as leftism. It's the people. It's the classification of activity. Thank God that's an old narrative. People are tired of your fake shaming. I'm not trying to fake shame anyone. I'm not trying to fake shame anyone. I'm not trying to shame anyone. And yeah, Terry, I would hope, even if we disagree politically, I would hope you think it's okay, and I'm allowed to voice my own opinions. And I hope my opinions can also be about how government is done. If you don't do that, I should be able to do that, right? Terry, I don't know what you do really well. I don't know what you know really well. I don't know who you care about more than I care about. But what I do know is I know this much. I know a little bit about how government is actually done. And so if I want to voice my opinion on the internet, I'm allowed to do that, I think. But tell me what you want to say. You've got the floor. You can say anything to chat just like I can. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Jewish. I was raised Catholic, Roman Catholic. Yeah. Do you guys know what dignity is? Dignity is one of the most important sort of theological, sort of non-theological terms in Catholicism. A lot of atheists know about the word dignity too. Secular folks know the word dignity. All around the world, if you ask a Buddhist or a Taoist, if you ask a Muslim what dignity is, if you ask someone who is Jewish what dignity is, a lot of the actual religious people will be able to tell you. And it generally means you're sitting alongside the people you want to help. Before we say someone is a criminal, before we say they're wrong as a person, before we say that I don't have enough, my table isn't big enough, I have to turn you away. What dignity does, dignity tells us that we go and sit alongside and next to that person. Smile more. Be happy about it, everyone. I don't know why I can't say that plainly. I don't want to hear any of this. I'm personally, I will hear all of it, but I'm so sick of people talking about how awful these illegal immigrants are and how we have to round them up like cattle because I want you to go sit next to them. I don't care how bad they are. If they're really bad, that means I really badly want you to go sit next to them. That's what dignity means. That's what justice is like. Too bad. Toughen up, Buttercup. Don't talk about it then. Don't hire someone like Donald Trump to do a job that Donald Trump can't do. Don't vote for him. You're not hiring someone. It's a democracy. Silly. You can't have a Donald Trump and a Marco Rubio because they rub elbows and smoke cigars really good. You can't have these guys because they know the same 2 or 3 pathways to accomplish a goal. You can't radicalize people into being focused on dignity. Ask a Muslim about homosexuality. Yeah, that's one of the reasons, one of the issues as an atheist or secular dude I do take on is I don't believe theology or God. Belief in God is justification to dislike gay people or same-sex marriage. I don't believe it has any sort of strong cultural pull over what our shared values are. Yeah, and so like evangelical Christianity historically is also incredibly horrific. Historically, evangelical Christianity and the Catholic Church has not been good for individuals. It's not been good for people with non-normative identity, so LGBTQIA plus or whatever, however you say that. It has not been good for women. Not especially, not necessarily, so who knows? Your thinking is 2000s. Do you like Al Gore, Terry? Do you remember Al Gore? Al Gore, and this is how open-minded I am, just because, you guys got duck. If I was from New Brunswick, you'd come see me and you wouldn't leave the same way. I'll tell you that much. So you got duck from New Brunswick. I would tell you this. No, in the 2000s, I don't know all that much about Al Gore, but I believe he was a beautiful vice president, beautiful man, probably would be good on multiple boards and doing lots of different things. I don't know Al Gore enough to know if I would have voted for him as president or what would have to be different with what we know now for people and me myself to broadly support someone like Al Gore for political office. It just seemed my sensing or semblance was that Joe Biden was able to take a lot on internally. Barack Obama seemed to have a lot of those sort of internal material, emotional, sort of spiritual struggles as president. As a Democrat, that gets me in my fifis. As an American, that gets me in my fifis, that you're willing to suffer to do the right thing for this massive, powerful nation that you're leading. You're willing to do the right thing. Yeah, my parents voted. Yeah, I think my I think my parents did too. Those are things. Those are things. Even though I love Catholicism, I'm not Catholic anymore, but those are things Catholics got confused about. Which I'm smiling, but it's not that funny. Like some Catholics would vote for a second George Bush term, and it's like, well, you oppose war, don't you? You do oppose war. Okay, got it. I understand. You don't like war, but you're gonna vote for George Bush again. Because and you're gonna tell me it's because you're pro-life. You know, you're gonna tell me it's because he's a good Texas boy. He's a Southern boy that knows he really knows what he's doing. He's a healthy Southern boy. It's like, no, you oppose war. You don't like war, so you don't vote for George Bush. That's a simpler decision. It's actually way simpler. If free will exists, where does the random thought comes from? Who knows? Another mind, maybe. Another mind. Maybe it's panpsychic. It's all minds. Maybe it's not just panpsychic, but there's not one, there's like imminent origination or something. You can't originate an idea just in like a set of neurons or something like that. The opposite of what, kind of the opposite of what biology, molecular biology, and neuroscience teaches us. Both are fine opinions in my view. Do you believe in a creator? I believe that there's, okay, so I don't believe in like a creator God. I believe that there's most likely like a creation narrative or like a category of something like creation that we just haven't discovered. No one's elucidated it yet. And I think it is as accurate as like calling a cell a cell. Like the eukaryotes, the cells in our body are actually collections of billions of molecules and atoms. They're huge. They're massive in scale of like universe things. Billions of molecules, billions of atoms. But there's technically no such thing as a cell in nature and reality. So I think creation is probably like that. Like there's a physicist could tell you what creation is one day, and you could tell someone else what it is, but I don't believe that there's a physical creator, like a being like God that possibly exists, is possible. JD Tux, let me pull you up, bro. I got you guys know. Do you guys know how powerful I am? Let me show you my power real quick. You guys don't believe in me. Do you guys believe in me now? Do you guys believe in me now? What's up? Like the video, subscribe. Do you believe in me now? I gotta help someone. Give me a second. Let me see this. I have all of JD Tux's channel history right in front of me at my fingertips, everyone. Yeah, really good point. If I can see one of these. JD, oh man, where is that? Let me see if I can go find where JD Tux came into the chat. Right there. I'll actually pin you up. I just pinned a message up that I really liked. Open-minded is not ignoring reality about things. Yeah, absolutely. And that also means to me that if you're open-minded, that leads to being more open-minded about the same things. I'd like to hear Rand Paul's opinion. I'd like to hear Rand Paul. Here's how crazy I am. I voted for Kamala, and I would like to hear Rand Paul's honest to God, no BS opinion about immigration and immigrants. I'd like to hear Rand Paul stand up and be able to be honest. This guy is a constitutional conservative. He works super closely in Kentucky with some of the most evangelical, religiously driven sort of Christian politicians in the US. And so Rand Paul is a case study in who you would expect to not like to support Donald Trump, but in fact, historically, he hasn't. He has one of the worst Republican voting records aligning with Trump. I'd like to hear what he has to say. Hermeneticist. I always lose these. I am a hermeneticist. We call it the all that manifested this physical reality, and that reality is mortal to our mortal minds, but at the same time, there is a higher mind. That's too deep for me right now, to be totally honest. I always hear hermeneutics come up. Isn't Heidegger related to hermeneutics in some way or something, or no? I might be missing stuff. We ask border jumpers to surrender. Well, if you're calling someone a border jumper and saying turn yourself in, you're not treating them like a person in the first place. I have a better idea. You treat people with dignity and respect, and you see what that gets you. And that's my plan. That's my plan as president, is you treat people with dignity, respect. Yeah, and then you see what it gets you. That's my strategy for all of the United States. And the other thing you have to do is double down on that. You actually have to dwell on the people that no one else cares about. That's called dignity. That's called justice. The people that, oh, you hurt so bad, you got to get them out of here, everyone. I might go live later today, everyone. I hate that I'm dipping out. So thank you. I know there's like 10 people here. Thanks everyone who liked. Thank you people who are already subscribed to Ducks Y. I'm really bad at places, names, people, stuff like that, but I want to keep getting better at that stuff. So I appreciate everyone this is not your first time here. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for tuning in. Terry, I'll catch you some other time. You are very polite. You're very polite and I think enjoyable. No, I enjoyed talking to you, Terry. So I hope we get to disagree about something and maybe agree on some stuff in the future. However that ends up turning out or panning out, we can talk more. And yeah, so cool. Hey, if you want to subscribe, and I might go live later tonight. Don't count on it. Cameron, always good to see you too. I hope our mutual friend Kel is doing well. I'm still following her shorts and everything like that. And yeah. And for everyone who this is your first time here, do subscribe. Like the video if you want. You guys, if you check your shorts feed or go to subscriptions and check my channel, I try and post one short every day. I try to make it somewhat well considered, thought out. I also just posted yesterday everything you don't know about Iranian philosophy. No, I'm not Iranian. Yes, I love philosophy. I'm okay at it. And so if you're curious about this term nativism, if you're curious about why you have to subscribe to somebody's Patreon and pay $30 a month to get a video that's academic and scholastic and just the right level of being informative, go check out that video on my page. Don't need to like, don't need to comment, just for you guys, just for probably one or two people here are interested in that stuff. But yeah, it's everything you don't know about Iranian philosophy. It takes you through the perennial ideas of Surawarta, this French guy named Henry Corbin, who brought Islamic studies in the mainstream of European philosophy, right in the middle, right outside of phenomenology. And so there's a little depth to that video, not too much. And yeah, you guys don't have to pay for Patreon. It's on my YouTube page. It's just on my YouTube page. So good to see everyone. I'm going to stop self-promoting myself. I want to spend the last 2 seconds promoting you guys. I hope you guys all make $1 million in Monopoly money and find a way to turn that into $1 million of Earth money. You guys know the fiat currency of Earth? It's Earth money. So I'm hoping you guys all become Earth money millionaires. My name is Duck. I go by Duck online. My real name's Nathan, and it's good to meet you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Yeah, Terry, I will remember you. You're probably the guy that chooses the Scotty dog in Monopoly. I'm just guessing Terry is the really annoying backgammon player too. Hey, thanks something wrong. Yeah, I'll wear my Trump tie next time, guys. We'll figure it out.